January 6th attack on the United States Capitol.
The January 6th Capitol insurrection.
January 6th.
January 6th.
January the 6th.
January 6th.
Including dates that instantly remind all who have lived through them where they were and what they were doing when our democracy came under assault.
Welcome to another episode of Two Old Men in Chairs. I'm Corrin Strong.
And I'm Howard Appel.
And today we've got another song from our favorite young rapper, Samson. This one is called The Sixth Sense.
I think this is our third Samson.
Third Samson. And we did a quick word. And we did 46 equals 13. Very political young man, and this one is no exception. The sixth in the title refers to January 6th, 2021, when a bunch of people went into the Capitol. And some people are still trying to make a big deal about that.
Disrupted things a little.
But Samson's not buying it. Like all of our videos, we have watched this a couple times. I have.
I watched it at home, yeah.
You watched it at home. Just so being old and in the way, it's easier for us to understand these young whippersnappers if we got a little bit of a head start. And ladies and gentlemen, the Vice President of the United States.
Fellow Americans, good morning. Certain dates echo throughout history.
The January 6th insurrection.
January
6th.
January 6th.
January the 6th.
January 6th.
Including dates that instantly remind all who have lived through them where they were and what they were doing when our democracy came under assault.
These clear acts of sedition and violence and terrorism.
A violent terrorist attack on the Capitol.
Such an attack on our democracy.
Violent attack to overthrow an election.
The worst attacks in American history.
If I can't have it my way, I'll burn the whole country down.
Dates that occupy not only a place on our calendars, but a place in our collective memory. December 7th, 1941. September 11th, 2001. And January 6th, 2021.
Okay, we had to take a short break while we both threw up from having to watch all that. She is so pathetic.
This is the classic communist method of accusing your opponent of what you are guilty of. Democracy came under attack on Election Day 2020 when the government was toppled in a fraudulent election. That's when democracy came under attack.
Sure. They want to make a big deal about what happened on January 6th to cover that up. Mr. Samson here has his response, which I think I pretty much agree with.
Newsflash, nobody gives a fuck about it. We all admit that shit was pretty dumb, but that's about it. When we saw the news, we were shocked and we were kind of tense. Like, damn. Then we forgot about it by the 10th. Nobody's walking around stressing over Jan 6. It happened and that was it. We haven't gave a damn since. It's all good when riots are kept in the hood, but now you're freaking out because this was in the neck of your woods. Now it's a
They don't give a damn about violence all around the country in the summer of 2020. You know, riots, burning down businesses, looting, assaulting cops. But a couple people take a little stroll in the Capitol and oh my God, the world's coming to an end.
Well, Samson's doing a great service here. First, destigmatizing these people. Ultimately, I think they should be declared heroes, but first we need to destigmatize them from because that's all we've heard, even from a lot of Republicans.
And in fact, the people that rioted in 2020, if they spent any time in jail at all, they were quickly released and no further charges were brought against them. And there's many people that are still in jail over a year later in Washington, D.C. Political prisoners is what they are.
Absolutely.
And there's no justice when you can burn a place down and get nothing and do something nonviolent like walk into the Capitol when you were being waved in by the Capitol Police. I mean, if you look at some of the video, I'm not going to defend everything that happened that day because I think there were some instigators who were trying to get people to be violent.
And who knows where those instigators came from?
Well, we know where they came from. A lot of them were FBI and other undercover agents. And
it was planned.
It was planned to try to get the crowd to become violent, and then they could have a false flag event. for the most part, you look at the videos of the people, it looks like a group of tourists. You know, they're walking, they're staying within the little lines, they're looking at the pictures of the statues. You know, there was a few crazies in there.
There's absolute asymmetry, even if you want to call it riot, that riot and what went on the previous summer, and especially one glaring example is we immediately knew the name of the policeman that shot and killed George Floyd. Have you ever known the name of the policeman that shot and killed Ashley Babbitt?
Well, they wouldn't release his name.
No, why not?
They hid it for the longest time, and I think it has come out finally, or at least people have a pretty good guess. But I couldn't tell you the fellow's name. I know he was a black officer, which is probably another reason they were trying to keep it quiet. He made a good point. It's like, now that it's in your neck of the woods, in other words, on Capitol Hill, where you live, where you work, now it's a problem. When it was everywhere else in the country, hey, it wasn't even a problem.
Riots are kept in the hood, but now you're freaking out because this was in the neck of your woods. Now it's a big deal. Now it gets real. Now it's important to us. Not back then in 2020 when stores were boarded up. Not back then when goods were looted and folks were brutalized. Not then, but right now, because it happened to the suit and ties. That shit's way above my head. We were fucking shit up all year with demonstrations that left dozens dead. But people like Nancy didn't flinch. In fact, they loved it then. People will do what they do. Bitch, ain't that what you said? Yep.
It's exactly what she said. People will do what they do. They never condemned the violence. They wanted the violence. It was all part of the plan to get rid of Trump. By threatening people, if you don't get rid of Trump, this is what your future is going to be.
I'm so glad that he's devoted a full video to this. Do you have any other rapper that actually done full videos for this topic?
I haven't heard any other videos on this topic, and you're right, this is a very critical topic that, you know, more people should be upset about what's happened with their, you know, and as you probably know, they have this committee in Congress which is trying to, you know, so-called investigation, but they wouldn't accept the Republican Party's nominations to represent them on the committee, and they ended up just taking a couple of these rhinos on the committee to represent the Republican Party who are anything but representatives of the Republican Party. So that's obviously all being designed, you know, for a big political rollout, and they're hoping that they can make political hay out of it, you know, in the coming elections. I don't think people are buying it.
These people are imprisoned and that they're being demonized.
In very difficult conditions. I mean,
it's one of the most disgusting things that has ever happened in American history, I think.
It's so similar to what happens in communist countries when dissenters disappear. And you're lucky if you ever hear from them again. If they do eventually surface, you hear similar stories of mistreatment and poor food and lack of visitation, lack of exercise, fresh air. This is what happens in China or Soviet Russia. This is not supposed to happen in the U.S.
And they are beaten psychologically. They are beaten up psychologically.
Well, the one guy committed suicide recently.
I didn't hear about that.
Yeah, a guy from Pennsylvania who was in prison, and he just couldn't take it anymore, and he killed himself. It's really, really disturbing what's going on, and the fact that nobody really stands up for him except for this one kid rapper.
Yeah, amazing.
I mean, every now and then you'll hear maybe a conservative Republican say, "Hey, you know, stop. We've got to release our political prisoners," but there's no groundswell of support for that. Again, another successful psyop. You know, make it look with all the pictures of, you know, the most violent parts of that day's events. You know, convince people that it's those crazy Republicans that are trying to overthrow the government.
And this is how it's going to stay if our side doesn't come back and take back our country. This is how it will remain in history as the Democrats are describing it now.
You used to say that journalism was the first draft of history. Well, the first draft wasn't very good. Hopefully we can correct it before it gets totally cemented into history.
People like Nancy didn't flinch. In fact, they loved it then. People will do what they do. Bitch, ain't that what you said? Yep. There's literally compilation videos of you and all your colleagues inciting this kind of crap. So it's very fascinating to watch you swallow your words. You put your own foot in your mouth and now you're forced to dial it back. It's fine when you encourage it in my town, in his town, in her town, when the whole fucking city's being burnt down. You smile as you give the green light for mobs to rob shit, but as soon as it comes close to you, then it's a problem. Got it.
See, the Democrats want so badly to be able to say white terrorism, white racism is the biggest domestic problem we have.
Well, our so-called president, the usurper, just said this a couple days ago that MAGA, Make America Great, is the most dangerous.
Yeah, just plain old regular conservative folks.
Yeah, we are the most dangerous group of people that's ever lived in this country.
I think he's the most dangerous because he's toppled our government.
Him and his
him and his minders,
handlers, minders. So we like Mr. Samson very direct here.
Give the green light for mobs to rob shit, but as soon as it comes close to you, then it's a problem. Got it. I don't condone what happened on that day, especially the officers that were assaulted. I would never dare. But as for all the politicians that were there, you fuck us over all the time, so don't expect us to care. I care more about the store owner that's getting beat down in front of his shop just for trying to protect his place of business. He would probably help me if he saw me on the ground dying. Y'all wouldn't do a damn thing. Shit, you'd probably say good riddance. You'd walk right over me like I was a crack and you were trying to save your mother's back like a 5-year-old kid. If you did acknowledge me, you probably nudge my body and go, aw, little fucker must have died of COVID.
Too true. And you know, that thing about shop owners getting beaten up, that happened right here in Rochester, New York, you know, not 30, 40 miles from right here. Remember that?
Yes.
Poor woman was trying to protect her store, and these thugs hit her with a big stick, and her husband.
Yeah.
I don't recall any arrests being made, despite that whole thing with being in, on video.
And if they were, then that wouldn't have followed up with it.
No, those people should go to jail. They should go to jail for a nice little while and think about, how they fit into our society, if they do it all. But nothing, because of course the media, the local media is all, over on the other side. So it's not, even if something were happening, they're not going to cover it. And of course, anyone that dies will blame it on COVID.
Acknowledge me, you probably nudge my body and go, aw, little fucker must have died of COVID. You know it's true. Stop bluffing. They do absolutely nothing that is trusting. Kamala, for you to compare this to Pearl Harbor and 9/11 is disrespectful and fucking disgusting. Bitch. That's the most self-centered thing that I've ever seen. Compared to those events, it's not even worth remembering. No one that I know is even still paying attention to it. We don't forget this shit in like a month if nobody mentioned it. Yep.
The comparison, the attempted comparison to Pearl Harbor or 9/11,
it's just got awful. It's disrespectful to the people that died in those two incidents.
Yeah, which was thousands of people in each case. And there were a few people that died that day, or I guess one of the police officers died a few days later. And some of the police officers committed suicide. I'm not sure what that was all about. There were a few people that were kind of beaten up by the police and died. And of course, Ashley was shot. So there was a few accidental deaths, a few less than accidental deaths. The total number of people that died is like 5, under all circumstances that I've heard of.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a long way to Pearl Harbor.
Just quantitatively, you can't. It's a joke.
I know is even still paying attention to it. We don't forget this shit in like a month if nobody mentioned it. Yep. And you know it too. You're gonna milk this thing and squeeze it till it's bone dry and it won't drip any juice. While your stupid committee's wasting money convicting people from a year ago while CNN runs continuous loops. Yep. We would rather hear you address a million other issues. We don't want to listen to you cry. Get a fucking tissue. So many things could be dealt with in a jiff, but you would rather sit in front of us and smell your own shit.
That's a pretty strong language there. Rather sit in front of us and smell your own excrement. I guess we have to be careful about using certain words. Yeah, he doesn't have much use for those people.
Many things could be dealt with in a jiff, but you would rather sit in front of us and smell your own shit. I refuse to show concern for a group of people that I have no respect for. I won't go there. I'm not happy about it. I'm not mad about it either. I'm just neutral on the issue. I just don't care. Yeah, I'm back.
He's back.
Personally, I think I'd like to even take it one step beyond Samson, who's really neutral. To my mind, these people, I'd be an advocate for these people because
it would be nice if we could storm the Bastille and release all the prisoners. But even suggesting that is probably grounds.
Now that's proof that us whiteys are the biggest domestic problem, terrorist problem, or the biggest.
Anyway, another great job by Mr. Samson talking about an issue that.
Yeah,
really
and I'm so glad that this one young kid had the nerve to talk about what nobody else seems to be.
You know, I could see myself down there on January 6th, except nobody organized a bus out of Western New York. If someone had organized a bus trip down there, I looked at going, but it's about a 7-hour drive. I just didn't have the time to do it or the energy to do it myself. But for that, I might be sitting in federal prison right now. I don't know if I would have gone in the Capitol or not. Curiosity might have gotten the better of me. You know, not for any evil purpose, not to burn it down or kill anybody.
You don't know what to do with it.
But you get into a crowd and everyone else is going to the building and the cops are waving you in, you might go in. So I guess I dodged a bullet there.